technology. And I thought about it for a second and said, because I guess the addressable market for both of those products is everybody. And I think that's you know, my kids who are late 20s, if they had $1 left in their pocket, the debate would be about where they were going to go eat with that. So I think the focus on better quality food, knowing more about where it's coming from, innovations, technology, are all still really early right now. So we see tons of opportunities, and I think that's going to continue for a pretty good while. I think the other thing that's going to happen is ultimately there will be some bigger consolidators. I saw this from my years as a tech media telecom banker, where big companies will come in and pay people for the hassle factor of putting 4 companies together like Britta's talking about doing. So I think there's also opportunities for creativity in the deal making side as well, but I think, as I said, it's still really early in the space, which is what's exciting.
Buck, a final thought or thoughts?
Yeah, I think my message is more for the brands. You know, I think that we're all coming out of this emergency COVID mode where we just try to scramble, think about how do we survive in very short-term thinking. But labor's not going to get cheaper. It's not going to become more available. It's all going to get worse over the next couple of years. And if you layer on, you know, your own brand's growth plans, which, you know, a lot of brands want to grow and everyone wants to grow, right? I just don't think those two facts like coincide very well. And so in my view, I'm kind of a one-note person. Sorry. You know, I think that brands must have an automation strategy and must be thinking about the future in automation and what automation does to their business. And you know, automation is not cheap and it's not fast. And so I think you need to start thinking about it sooner rather than later. And I'll be here for you if you want to talk.
As efficient and how important that is, for many of the operators represented here, labor is the 3rd biggest component of their expenses. So it, you know, saving 2 or 3% of labor isn't a big deal. Saving 10 or 20% is. So it will be interesting to see how that shakes out. Julie, you get to give your final thoughts.
So the last week or so, I've had 3 different conversations with several of our portfolio companies, specifically on the sales end. And questions they ask us as operators are what's the best way to sell into restaurants, and how do I tell restaurant operators that my product is the best? And going back to the theory of operator-centric, you have to know how a restaurant works and how a restaurant operates. And I guess my message is for the tech companies out there too, is to know the restaurants, know how a restaurant works, know what the pain points are. And one of the greatest lines someone said to us once is that restaurant operators didn't get into the restaurant business to be data analysts. And I find that to be so true. So the more a company can work with a restaurant, whether that's helping them use their data in a way that helps them increase their sales, or to be able to just tell an operator that you understand their pain points and you know what they're going through, and that they're there to help you solve your problems. I really think that that's a very exciting space for me to see how everyone can really work together.
As a guy who invested in a lot of restaurant tech companies, every single one of them thinks they do that. I'm not for a second claiming that they all do, but they all would sure say, I understand the pain point we're solving, and that's what we're here for.
Yeah, just to jump on that for a second too, is you know, when you, as an operator, if you sit in a meeting with a company that's trying to pitch you, you'll know within seconds whether or not they've had restaurant experience and if they've worked in a restaurant or know how